We are starting this list off with Saints Row 2, honorable mention. It was a game that came out in 2008 on the PlayStation 3 and Xbox. It was an open world game. It's supposed to be in like a Carson City, like a Chicago or some sort, and it was a great open world, like a little brother did GTA, and it was a very important game to start off the franchise after Saints Row did a good job. Spider-Man was a great game for the PlayStation 4. It was, a great open world game in New York City, and it showed a lot of promise because of the graphics were so high, and it had a lot of techno-animated things, and you had a lot of great animations that went on. And as you can see here, there's so much, acrobatic stuff and slow motion, and a lot of stuff that you really had your mind hands-on with, and it was really good. Fallout 4 was a really good game, and this almost made the top 5, but the other 5 were so great. But this was a really deep and in-depth game where it has a lot of animation to it, and the series was absolutely great. Fallout was an absolutely great anime, and it was the graphics were absolutely perfect for the system that it was in, and the promise of the game could not get too much better. It was an amazing game, and the open world view had a broad horizon. And at number 5, we had Super Mario on Nintendo 64 in 1996. This will be the only game before 2000 because open world games were not as big, but this one was really a game changer. And this game actually came out before I was even born. And knowing that my brothers played this game day in and day out, this was a true open world game that had a lot of promise when it comes to going house to house. The goal was to make sure you defeat Bowser at the end, and there were over 200 stars that you could collect so you can get to the boss, who was Bowser at the time, and defeat him. There were so many great things that came from this game. I've actually completed this game. It took me a long time. My brother Evan completed this game in less than a year, which is actually really good without any cheats or anything and any glitches. But this was an amazing game for the simple fact that there were so many different stars that you could collect, and this was in 1996. So to see an open world game come this far when it was just, the mini games that they had. Super Mario Galaxy at number 4 in 2010 on the Nintendo Wii is basically Super Mario on the Nintendo 64 on steroids. This game had so many different open worlds. Super Mario Galaxy was a great game, but Super Mario Galaxy 2 brought it to a whole nother view. Super Mario Galaxy 2 was pretty much as good as it can get for a video game that came on the Nintendo Wii. The Nintendo Wii was so great of a console, and I had to put one on because there were so many positives that came from the Nintendo Wii throughout its time span. I don't think the Nintendo Wii has died yet, but there have been so many positive things that I feel has came out of the Nintendo Wii, and a part of this game system was absolutely amazing. The graphics were absolutely amazing. I've actually, beat this entire game with my friend David. We ran twos. That's another thing that made this game absolutely fabulous. You're able to play this game with 2 people at the same time. This was the first game to do that. At number 3, you got Grand Theft Auto Vice City on the PlayStation 2. This game came out in 2002, and this was a great game for, a lot of different reasons. A lot of different reasons because Vice City was a absolutely amazing, I would say, it was an amazing proposition when it comes to Scarface. It was basically, the game for Scarface, and there were so many different ways that you could look at this game, and the gameplay was absolutely amazing for 2002. Just having Grand Theft Auto 3 coming out just a year before, and this was absolutely amazing because you had so many different areas in the game that you could explore, and there were a lot of different, ways and worlds that you could, get to, and there were just 3 islands, and the goal was to make sure that you owned your own mansion and you had a lot of money so you could take over the entire Vice City. It's a true Miami thriller. Grand Theft Auto San Andreas on the PlayStation 2 is at number 2, and it came out in 2004. This was a game that really changed Grand Theft Auto's history, because this one, you know, obviously was the first game that you could swim in. This was the first game that had different cities, and this was the first game that had highways and open world adventure games. This was so important for open world adventure for this game to be out, because this leads to Grand Theft Auto 4 and 5, which we'll get more into. But this was an absolutely crazy game for its time in 2004, because there were so many different ways. A lot of people still play this today. There were so many different ways that you could get the job done. There were so many different avenues throughout the streets, and there were so many different people and ways that you can interact. The music was good. This was pretty much a set in the 90s, and you know, this is a guy who just came back from Liberty City, which is New York City, and he moved to the West Coast, which is in California. Grand Theft Auto 5 is the best game to have ever been completed on time, and is the best game to ever be made in the history of human mankind. This game was absolutely amazing because it was very interactive. The people on the game you actually feel are very interactive, and the online mode is what changed everything with this game. First, I'm gonna go for its story mode. Its story mode was absolutely amazing. This was the first game that you could switch from character to character, and this changed games, I feel, for the future, because this game came out in 2003 and it came out on 2 different generations. And you can switch from Michael, who was a retired criminal who changed his life from being in North Yankton, and he changed his life around, moved to Hollywood, and just chilled out. You have Franklin, who was a thug and just wanted to make it out of the hood. And then you got Trevor, who moved out from North Yankton after he created a couple crimes, and he's on the hideout as well. And this was absolutely amazing for the process, and its online mode was absolutely ridiculous, seeing that there could be 30 to 40 people in one game, and you can do missions on your own. And there were so many great things that were coming out of Grand Theft Auto 5, and you could just see from the graphics. The graphics are really good, and there's actually another level that it could get to, because it can take a step up even from here. This game is so great because it has everyone wondering, how good could the game be? How good can Grand Theft Auto 6 be? This was the best open world game of all time, and I am pretty sure that Grand Theft Auto 6 will not disappoint. Thanks everyone for watching.
Simeon wasn't bullshit. Man, get your ass in there. Bring your ass, fool. Always trying to boss somebody.